Hello, everyone. Jane here from Your Weight Loss. And today we have a guest with us, Mr. Eric Roberts from Eric Roberts Fitness. You need to check him out because apparently he's like a big deal on the TikToks and on the Instagram.
On the internet.
On the internet. Hello, Mr. Eric.
How are you lovely ladies doing? Thank you so much for having me. Can I just say we were starting on the podcast and stuff, and I heard the intro music. Love it. Just absolutely love the intro music. I'm like, this is great. I know I'm going to love this already.
Oh yeah, we are so chill. And so this is a conversation. People that are listening to us are either driving to work and they're expecting some fun. That's what they expect out of this podcast. Some laughs, a few comments that don't make sense from the French Jose, and then they just carry on with their day.
I love it. I'm so down for it. I'm really excited to be here.
Okay, so we're just gonna get right into it. I have a list. I always have lists. I'm the list maker of the two of us, and we were just talking about how amazing your success has been on TikTok, and you have over 500,000 followers on TikTok. Do you ever say that and be like, "What?"
Yeah, it's Yeah, I mean, I don't like to this day, like I never started on any of this stuff. Like, oh, I need to get X amount of followers or X amount of podcast downloads or anything like that. I was just like, all right, like I'm going to go put out my best content, help people as much as I possibly can and see what happens. And like, it takes like other people. Like, it's funny enough, like my brother, like he's my brother. He's like, you're not anybody famous or whatever. But he was like, you have like over 500,000 followers. And I'm like, yeah, like, I guess I do. Like, it's just like, I don't really ever think about it. But when you say it, it's like, it's a lot of things. Yeah. So it's cool. Yeah, for sure.
I remember when we first started getting followers, I was like, this isn't real. Like, these are not real humans. Did you feel the same way? Like, these are not real humans.
Yeah, it's because it's crazy. Like, you know, just interacting with the amount of people that I interact with on a daily basis, like just the number of just kind messages, like people telling me, hey, like, I tried the calorie deficit, I've lost 30 pounds. You've really changed my relationship with food. Like, just those messages, like, that never gets old. So for me, it's like, yeah, it's to this day, it's like having real individuals like send me pictures of their weight graphs and like all that kind of stuff. It's like, man, it's just cool. It's a huge, massive blessing, honestly.
We feel exactly the same way. We get those messages too, and it's like it fuels you.
So you said earlier when we were chatting that you haven't been on TikTok for long, and we kind of have the same story. Like, it's like we just got on, started spreading the word about calorie deficit, and it was like, wow, so many humans out there are struggling with this problem and struggling to understand what it is and how it works. And it was just like kind of like another world for us. Did you feel the same?
Yeah. So it's funny because like, what I really think is like, because I literally had somebody this morning send me a DM on Instagram, and they were like, hey, can you check out what this coach gave me, this meal plan? And I'm like, oh boy. So I like looked at the picture, and it was like egg whites for breakfast and just oatmeal. And then lunches, it said like, you can only have a protein shake, but you have to have and it's just like, I'm just like, oh man, like, oh no. So it's like, I feel like there's so much of that out there that if you're not doing that, like you can actually stand out. Cause it's just such like, she knew no better. She was like, oh, like this is what my coach gave me. I'm like, get a new coach ASAP. Like, no, like just no, like, please don't follow what that coach told you to do. And so, yeah, I think like if you're actually putting out great information with like actual sustainable, real tips, like, yeah, you're probably going to stand out. And so I think that's why you guys have done so well, honestly.
Well, same for you. Like, I know why you have that amount of followers, because our message and why our TikTok also blew up. It's like our message was different. And for some people, they like it. They still have trouble believing. Like, do you see that? Like, I'm like, they really like, they know it sucks to be on a diet, yet we have like, and I would love to hear more about your story. Like, did you have a weight problem? Did you like, what kind of is your story? Maybe you don't know ours, but both Alicia and I have lost 70 pounds, kept it off.
Let's go.
My journey started a while back, like over like 20 years ago. And then we created Your Weight Loss 10 years ago. We're having our 10-year anniversary. 2022 is our 10-year year of helping people lose weight their way. But anyways, it's just, they see you tell them things, but it's like, they think we're hiding some magic. We have like magic.
Yeah. I literally just had I had a conversation with one of my clients, last week, I believe. And she was actually in a tough spot because she actually just signed up and she was like, hey, Eric, like, I don't know if I can do this or because she comes from kind of like the diet culture background. I'm like, hey, like, so we hop on the phone, like, hey, what's up? And she's like, I'm very overwhelmed. I'm like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, literally, like, just for example, like, just hit your calories, for example, or just do this. And she's like, there's just no way it can be that simple, Eric. And I'm like, no, like, it actually is. No, like, it actually is. Like, there's no reason for me to lie to you right here. I'm like, it actually is. I'm not saying it's easy because by God, it's not easy by any means, but it is that simple. Like, as long as you are eating less calories than what your body burns, like, you will be losing body fat. And she's just like, I guess I just didn't believe you. And she's like, I signed up, I paid everything, but she was like, I guess I still just didn't believe you. I'm like, well, believe me, because we're doing this. And so, yeah, I still to this day, people are like, and that's why, again, like, a lot of the content I make is somewhat repetitive in the sense of, like, I talk about, hey, the only way to gain weight is a calorie surplus. You don't gain weight from eating past 7 p.m. and those things. And to this day, like, those videos do the best because, like people will share them. Hey, mom, I told you this didn't make me fat, or whatever the case may be, right? So it's like, yeah, to this day, people have a hard time grasping that concept. Yes.
Well, it's been really like amazing for us to be like, okay, oh my gosh, he's saying what we're saying. Yes, yes, yes. Like we see it, we know it. There's other people spreading the word, and it's like so refreshing.
Yeah, when we see people like you posting the exact same things we're saying, it's validating and it's like reassuring. Not that we needed it, but it certainly feels good. Like it certainly feels right, and we know that we're right. Like we know that it's. I
mean, I like science. Science makes sense to me.
Yeah, and it's funny because, like, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, you're saying things like legit, just the example you gave of a client saying they're overwhelmed. We have that all the time. And we're like, what are you overwhelmed with? And it's like when they start saying the rules of the diet industry, I'm overwhelmed and I don't know like how much water I should be drinking. I don't know, what time I should be eating. And I'm like, there's no answer to that. You have to live, you have to experience, you have to see what feels right. And it's like very odd to them.
My favorite one is like, Eric, what dressing do you put in your salads? I'm like, if you ask me what fucking dressing I'm gonna put in my salad, I'm gonna fucking kill you. Like, no, like just you're at that point you're overcomplicating, right? It's like, yes, don't bathe yourself in ranch dressing, but like put fucking salad on your dressing. Like, stop it. So yeah, things like that for sure, where it's like these little nuances. And again, water is a big one. I'm like, how much water should I drink? I'm like, well, first of all, you don't need a gallon a day like these people are telling you. But second, like, drink when you're hungry, drink when you're thirsty, drink if your pee's dark yellow. Like, do those three things. Like, just those three. It's like, just, again, it seems really simple because it is, but it's not easy, but it is that simple. So yeah, I cannot agree more. Yes.
Amazing. Wow. I was actually listening to a podcast of yours the other day where you said that. And I was like, yes, about water, because people, you know what I mean? They're like, how much water? And you're like, oh gosh, guys.
And like, we do ask me anything. And like, that's what you use your question on, how much water I drink. Like,
but that shows like people just don't, they just don't like people. That shows how confused people are. And you guys talked earlier about like, you saw me posting content and like Jordan Syatt and those kind of things. And it's like, you're going to go on people go on their social medias and they see things, right? So like the more they see, oh, these two girls are saying this, and then that guy's saying this, and then that guy's saying this, it actually makes sense. And like, all right, I guess I'll try it. Like I've tried everything else. I guess I'll try it. And that's how like the more you put out good quality content like that, it's like people will see like they're going to follow some people that tell them they can't eat past 7 p.m., but they're also probably going to follow some people who are like, oh, wait, this person said I can. It's like, okay, cool. Like dive into that content more. Wait a minute. Like the thing I get the most is people are like, what you say makes sense. And I'm like, yeah, because like it is common sense, but people, it's been so misconstrued over the years. And it's like, wait a minute, like they actually have a point. And so they end up trying it. They see it works. They trust you more, all those kind of things. So it's good that you guys are doing that, because again, it's like you're fighting the good fight, so to speak, and people are listening. Yeah.
Fighting the good fight.
Yeah, we call it noise. Like our members come to us with so much noise in their head, and it's from diet culture and past experiences and all the shoulds and shouldn'ts and rules and all that stuff. And that's basically what we do, is calm the noise, get rid of the noise, and replace it with other things.
I love it. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and we tell them they're like, are you going to tell me what to eat? And we keep saying, we're going to tell you how to think. We're gonna help with your language, because the language and your thoughts are what is making you behave and eat in a certain way, and that is the problem behind the eating.
You know, people often come to me and they're like, "Hey, like if they inquire for coaching, or just like in general, like, hey, what's a good meal plan?" I'm like, go on fucking Google and type "what's a good meal 1,500 calorie meal plan." You'll fucking find a meal plan. Like that is literally pointless, because it's like, and it's the old adage of like, I always mess up the exact saying, but you'll get what I'm saying here. It's like, give a man a fish versus teaching a man how to fish, right? It's the exact same thing. It's like, you want to teach them how to quote unquote diet, which we all know what the word diet means. It's just eating healthy, all this kind of stuff. You want to teach them how to quote unquote diet, so they can actually, they don't have to diet ever again for the rest of their life. Like, you actually just know how to eat. Like, you know how to eat. So it's a massive concept. But people, like, they're like, wow, wait a minute. Like, again, I get people who come on for coaching. They're like, wait a minute, like, because I'll say, hey, you know, for example, give me 3 dinner options you like, whatever the case may be. And they're like, wait a minute, like, you want me to tell you like what I like eating? And I'm like, yes, like I need you, like, yes, of course there's parameters, let's get some vegetables, all that kind of stuff. But it's like, yeah, like, I don't need you eating chicken, white rice, and broccoli every single day if you hate it. Like, I literally just got a comment on one of my TikToks, and she was like, man, I fell off so hard, I just can't eat chicken, rice, and broccoli every single day. I'm like, nobody can. Like, shocker. Like, you're not you're not abnormal. Like, this is what most people can't do. And so, yeah, it's the concept of giving a man a fish versus teaching him how to fish for the rest of his life.
Okay, so not only do I use that saying, I mess that saying up every time I use that saying. Yeah. All the time.
Like, you know that saying with the fish and the teach the man? I'm like, I got you, girl. I'm picking up. I know what you're saying.
Okay, I want to know awesome. About you. Like, I feel like you did lose weight. I feel like, were you like a chubby kid? Tell us a little bit about you.
So this is where, like, and it's so funny because I think about this sometimes. I'm a complete, like, dichotomy to, like, what I talk about on a daily basis. Like, I grew up very skinny, and my main goal was to just get bigger, build muscle, all those kind of things. And so I'll kind of take you through the journey. But the reason so I'll kind of comment this at the end. So it started off as, like, 15, 16, like any 15, 16-year-old guy just wanted to look jacked, right? What do we talk about here? So that's how it started, right? But very quickly, and I mean within, like, the first 1 to 2 weeks, and, like, after the first workout, I always say this, and, like, my dad literally laughed in my face. I got back from the gym, and I mean, like, so I did like high school, like football, 9th grade, like weightlifting, whatever, right? I didn't really take it seriously. But when I walked into a gym, I walked out of the gym and I went home and I told my dad, I was like, yo, like, I love this. Like, I'm gonna do this every day for the rest of my life. And he was like 16-year-old kid, yeah, buddy, whatever, man. Like, you've been one day, champ. Like, let's calm down, why don't we? And I'm like, nah, man, like, I really love it. Like, I don't know. And so, from there I enjoyed it. And then, so there was 2 kind of main drivers for me. Where I grew up, it wasn't really like we weren't like poor by any means, but like a lot of my friends were a bit well off, and like I just saw like they were, just different financial status. And so for me, I'm very like I almost like make up stories inside of my head, but like I was like, all right, like working out is the one thing, like you can't buy working out. Like it's a direct correlation of your eating, of your workouts, like of your hard work basically. And that's what I love to this day about exercise and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, because you can't buy a body, like of course like plastic surgery or whatever, but like you can't buy a body. It's a direct correlation of your hard work. And like, as you guys have probably seen with my content and stuff like that, like I put out a lot of content. I tried to work as hard as I can. Like it's really something I love. So that's really why I fell in love with it. And then from there, what I really enjoyed about it was like, again, like talking 16, 17, 18 years old, a lot of what we do is like I would work out with my friends, my buddies. And I always got so much more out of seeing them succeed than even seeing myself succeed. Like when they would lose body fat or when they would, get a PR on their squat or deadlift or whatever the case may be, I got so thrilled from that. Like it filled my cup up essentially, so to speak. And like, I was like, all right, like clearly I love working out. I love the fitness, nutrition, all this kind of stuff. And I love seeing people push past their limits. Like I trained people in person for 3.5 years. And whenever I would tell a lady to go grab that 100-pound kettlebell or just something like that, they'd be like, there's no way I can do that, Eric. And I'm like, no, like just go pick it up. Like just stop talking, just go pick it up. And they would do it. And they're like, holy shit, like I feel so strong. I feel like such a badass and I feel great and all these things. And so seeing people push past their like glass ceiling, so to speak, that's really what I love about what I do. And so, yeah, I kind of just, I kind of took it from there. I got an in-person coaching job when I'm 25 now. So about 20 years old. So when I was 20 years old,
25, you're a baby.
I know. You sound like my mom's friends, but yes. Yes, I know. I get it. But again, like, it's funny because like it's a dichotomy because I relate to all these, and it's been this my whole life. Like I relate to older individuals, like 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years old. Like forever, and even growing up, like I remember I would always, like, if we went to hang out with some friends or whatever, I would always hang out with my dad and his friends as opposed to like the kids. And it was always like that. So it's not really a shocker for me that I always kind of like just gravitated more towards like, people who were 10, 20, 30, 40 years older than me. But yeah, so I trained people in person for 3.5 years and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a grind. I was doing like waking up 3:30, going to bed at 8:30, that whole thing every single day. It was kind of nuts, but did that for 3 years. And then, transitioning into 2020, March of 2020, obviously COVID in-person training no longer. So, doing all online. And that's when I kind of started to put out more content, write articles, do all that kind of stuff. And basically to where I am now. So yeah, I hope that gave you some sort of a background there.
Wow.
So you were obviously into fitness since the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Which was basically last year. No, I'm kidding, because you're so young.
I was about to say, yeah. Basically, like, it's funny because like people, so like, for example, I don't like drink alcohol, right? But I always tell people, I'm like, they're like, why don't you drink? I'm like, I did a lot in like 10th, 11th grade. They're like, when you were 16? I'm like, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, it just is what it is. So, but yeah, no, I've always loved it. Like, it's always just, and again, it's way less about like cool, like losing fat is cool and building muscle is cool, but it's just, there's so much that working out taught me. Like, for example, my business now, like I know we kind of talked before the podcast, but like the consistency of content that I put out, like how did I learn how to do that? Consistently working out, every single week, consistently eating right it's like doing those things consistently. It's taught me so much, and it's given me a life that I never thought I'd be able to live. You guys kind of talked earlier about, 500,000 people and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, all this started from just a kid who liked working out way too much. And like, I don't know, man, it's just, and I really do just count my blessings every single day, honestly.
Do you know what though? When you were talking about that earlier, I was like, I made that link because I listened to a lot of your content, listened to a lot of your podcasts, and I hear you say, I've set a goal to make 2 YouTube videos, to do this. And I see exactly how you set and crush your goals. And it's the exact same thing with your health and your weight loss. Like, instead of you focusing on a number at the end, I'm going to get this many followers, which you actually have no control over, or I'm going to weigh a certain amount. You're going to say, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do it consistently.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And you're clearly
it's
so
all
passionate.
action.
Yeah.
You're clearly so passionate. And when you're passionate about something, and when it's like, you're basically showing up as who you like to be. Like, you're showing up as who you are. So for you, like working out at the gym, being so happy for others in their fitness journey and like being there for them is like legit, like a part of who you are and who you like to be. So it's not easy, but it certainly is easier for you to show up consistently because it's who you are. It's who you want to be. And like for us, for the past 10 years, like when you think about us showing up and trying to put our message out there and getting clearer and louder and all of it, it's like easy for us to show up on social media with our message because we're so passionate about it. It's like who we are. And we share that a lot with our members when it comes to them choosing their weight loss journey. Make sure that like you are chasing who you want to be, that you're not eating in a way because you're trying for a look or a certain number. It's like who you're trying to become. And that makes the journey easier so that you can be more consistent, because it shouldn't be so hard that you wake up and you're faking it.
It's funny you say. I have 2 quick examples for you. One, they both happened today. This lady inquired me for coaching, and she was, I have no clue who this person is, so bear with me, but she was like, yeah, I want to look like Blake Lively. I don't know who that is. And I was like, okay. Okay.
You need to know who Blake Lively is. You will thank us. You will thank us.
I don't even know who that is.
But I was like, Lively is.
So I was like, cool, I guess. But I was like, first of all, I don't know who that is. But second, like, you're not going to look like Blake Lively. You're going to look like yourself. Like, you like striving to look like other people or do those things. It's like, be yourself. And like, for example, I had a client earlier where she was like, she asked me about my big ass salad per day. And she's like, Eric, like, I get really overwhelmed with salads, and I guess I'll try to eat one to that. And I was like, Julie, you do know you don't have to eat a salad every single day, right? If you don't like fucking salads, don't eat them. I'm like, I like salads. I actually enjoy salads. So I'm going to eat them. But like, if you hate them or if they overwhelm you or whatever the case may be, just because I'm doing it doesn't mean you have to do it. And she was like, oh, okay. Like, sweet, cool. Like, just keep on going then. I'm like, it's that simple, right? So
curious if you get annoyed with the question, what do you eat in a day? Does that annoy you as much as it annoys us?
I don't think so. I think it doesn't annoy me as much because like when people actually see the amount of food that I eat on a daily basis, like I'm 6'4", like 250, 245. So like, I'm like, cool. You want to see what I eat? Like, here's everything I eat. And they're like, there's no way I can eat that. And I'm like, exactly. So stop asking me what I'm eating. Right. So I think it annoys me a bit less. Whereas you guys kind of have like, people will kind of try to eat what you eat a bit more. So it's like, They don't do it with me because they're like, oh my God, there's no way I can eat all that. So
also, I could tell you exactly what he eats because he eats the same shit over and over.
Okay. I love your last TikTok. I almost did not a duet, but you know when you clip 5 seconds, but I hate that it doesn't allow me to clip a little longer. I wanted to steal your clip where you're like, people don't eat 5-course meals, like five-star meals or whatever. And I'm the like queen of like eating not like nothing is like too confusing at my home. No, c'est vraiment simple. And also you said like you eat the same thing often. That's also me. And I basically wanted to put everything that I purchase in like bulk because that's what I eat. And I just want to be like, I feel seen. Like as in like this is, but then the message couldn't do it perfectly. But yes to that TikTok. I was like, exactly. And I feel like then they're like, but I don't want to eat the same thing every day. Okay, well, that's part of your values. That's part of how you like to do it. So you need to be that person because it's important, but keep it darn simple. You can eat something different every meal, but keep it simple. Like, why are you confusing this and making this so hard, you know?
I think people have a hard, that's oftentimes a fine line. And it's actually funny because the comments of that video were actually like better than I thought they were going to be, which the comment section is just who knows sometimes. But the comments were better than I thought they were going to be because a lot of people were like, yeah, I agree. Da-da. But, you know, there's always people who are like, I don't want to eat the same thing every single day. I'm like, cool, don't do it. Go make your 5-star meals and see how it goes for you. Like, if that's the person you want to be, like, you're going to have to dedicate 4 hours a day to cooking food. Like, if that's what you want to do, good fucking luck. Cause I'm not doing that. Like, I'm just not. And most normal human beings who have kids, have a job, have a life, have a spouse, they're not doing that either. So like, you have to map like, okay, cool. You have to have realistic expectations on this shit. And where most people are like, no, I want to go to, Ruth Chris every single. It's like, no, you're not doing it. It's not going to be like that. So simple means you can repeat it. And if you can repeat it, you can be consistent. If you can be consistent, you can see progress. In the same way we just talked about content, for example, like every single week, my shit's like 2 YouTube videos, two TikToks, it's simple. It's repeatable. That's how you have to make things if you want to be consistent, especially earlier on. As you get more advanced, go for it, man. Throw some things in, whatever. But especially as you're trying to make a change, the more simple, the more repeatable, the more consistent, the more progress you can see.
Oh, bam. Guys, if you were going to take anything away from our podcast, can we all have a moment for simplicity? And you know what? Even me, I cook a lot more than Jose, and I have 3 kids, and I cook a family meal every single night. It's still simple. I still stick with simple for the most part.
Yes, Leash, but you also don't like whine about it. It's who you want to be. Like, you're not like, I'm doing this and I don't want, like, you absolutely love that shit.
Love it.
Freeze it. You use your freezer. Like, you put your little apron on, like, whatever.
Apron, okay? Let's go.
So she like loves that shit. I don't care if you do eat a 5-star meal. Do not whine about it. If this is who you want to be, like that's the part that I'm like, then why are you like being whiny and being like, I don't want to, I have to do this. Then do it. If you say you have to and you want, do you have to? You want to? So many things.
Okay, I have some questions that I want to like quick fire questions that are all like calorie deficit. Are we up for it, everybody?
Yeah, but I'm not quick fire anything, but I'll try my best. Yes, I always.
Oh my God, we're the same. I'm like, I need 5 minutes per question to make sure I cover all my bases here. Yeah, I'm like the same.
We did a good one. The other day. Okay, number 1, is it possible to not eat enough and then I stop losing weight?
See, this is not going to be quick. The answer is no, and like what I'll just very quickly say, and again, this gets so many people riled up, but like and this is going to get a bit serious, but like think about people who are much less fortunate than you and I listening to this podcast right now. Think about people who are in third world countries. Think about people who are in the Holocaust. Think about those people like who are actually starving. Not you and I, like we're not starving. think about those people. Are any of those people ever overweight? It's almost like a slap in the face to those people who are actually struggling on a day-to-day basis to say, I'm not eating enough and not. No, you're not doing that. That's not a real thing. If you're in a calorie deficit, you will lose body fat. The most common thing that happens is two things. Number one, if they are counting calories, they're just not tracking their calories accurately, which is like a very common thing, which if you want more help on that, I have an entire YouTube video. It's the same video I send to my clients, so go check it out. But more so, number two, you're trying to like, what most people try to do is they try to throw a Hail Mary every single down, or they try to shoot a half-court shot every single time. It's like they try to go to these extremes, eat 1,200 calories, eat 1,000 calories, eat very little. So they eat 1,000 calories for 3 days and eat 4,000 calories for 4 days. And that cycle happens over and over and over. But what happens is you're so stuck in this dieting mindset where all you think about is weight loss, losing weight on the scale. I'm eating 1,200 calories. I'm dieting. And so what happens is the dieting mindset takes over and you just literally forget that, oh yeah, on Thursday night, I had margaritas with the girls and I went over 3,000 calories. Oh yeah, on Saturday when my kids went to a soccer game, I ate out and had a 2,000 calorie meal. It's like, you just kind of forget that. And like, I get it because your mind is so consumed with weight loss, but do not be confused. We don't have an obesity epidemic in America because we're eating too few calories. Like, we have an obesity epidemic because we're eating too many calories. So yes.
Okay,
Nailed
I know
it.
The questions are not for me. I would like to say something.
Quick.
Okay, quick. My thing is, do you really think that? Like, that's what I want to ask the person that says that to me.
Some really do.
Do you really think that you are obese because you eat too little? Like, do you really think that? Okay. And if you do, if you're like, I think it's a thing. Yes, ma'am. I think it's a thing. Okay. Then I'll be like, okay, try eating more and let's see. Why aren't you eating more? If you thought, like, I don't think we're struggling. Like you said, we have access to, we're so lucky. We're so fortunate that we have access to obesity. That's why we're having an epidemic. We have access to it so easily at the tip of our fingers. Like, the three of us could easily be obese. Like, it's so accessible because we have excess amounts of celebrations and food and it's just like, it's everywhere and things are high calorie. They taste good. We're just so fortunate and we've kind of like cross the line. But my question is, do you really think that it's because of that? And if so, let's try eating more and see how that works. And then they'll be like, but I can't eat more. Okay, then what's the thing? What's happening?
And you know what? I've seen people say, but I'm eating more now and I'm losing weight. And what's actually happening is they're eating more consistently and they're not eating 1,200 and then eating like an asshole for eating 1,800, they don't feel like shit on like Monday.
Yes.
Legit.
Okay, I'm so sad.
No, you ate more on Monday.
Yes, I'm so sad it cut while you were having an amazing moment. I could tell. I couldn't hear you.
It's gonna be okay.
But so I feel like I won't. It's not gonna be okay. What she was saying is that you're not eating more. Is that you're being more consistent and you're spreading it out more. And there's also the other part of you're eating more food, not more calories. So they're changing their food nutrients completely. And they're like, I'm eating so much. And it's like, but you're eating a huge salad versus like 2 burgers or whatever, like something that was a 1 burger that is actually more calories. They're seeing volume and not the actual calories in there. Do you guys know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, go.
No, 100%.
Okay, ready, team? All right. So I know that you are right now in a calorie deficit. I know that you are trying to cut for your vacation. I'm happy for you. You're going on vacation. I want your tips to making a calorie deficit suck less.
So many. Number one, I would say focusing on having protein at every single meal. It's people always ask me, and this is not gonna be quick, and I'm sorry. But people always ask me, they're like, hey, how, like, what's your favorite cheat meal, or what's your favorite, like, how do you not have cravings for this or that? And I'm like, like I eat 250 grams of protein per day. Like that's how, like I just don't, I'm always so satiated. I'm always so full. I don't need extra things because my body is always so satisfied. And so I would say, number one, having protein at every single meal. Let's just say, for example, you have 3 meals a day. Make sure it's breakfast, lunch, dinner. You have 3 meals and you have protein each one of those meals. If you can have it at snacks, it'll help that much more. Number two, trying to make sure you cut liquid calories. And this is going to ruffle some feathers, but like, alcohol is in there. You don't have to cut alcohol completely. You do not have to. You can still lose weight with alcohol for sure. Like, it's fine. But can you lose weight with drinking 7 beers every single weekend? I don't know. That's going to be more difficult. So it's going to suck more because not only does it come with alcohol calories, but like, let's be honest, when you get a bit tipsy, you might have some chips here and there. Your food choices change. It's why you can't drink and drive. Like, you don't make the best decisions when you drink a lot of alcohol, right? So it's like liquid calories do play a role. And like, for example, in my calorie deficit right now, I switched from having milk every single day and coconut water, which came to roughly 400 calories. I cut both those things out completely. Now I have 400 less calories just from drinking less liquid calories. So I'd say liquid calories, number 2. Number 3, having fruit, having 2 servings of fruit per day, 1 to 2 servings of fruit per day. Fruit's not bad for you. The insulin's not going to make you fat. It's totally fine. Tons of great fiber. High volume fruits like strawberries and watermelon. Those 2 things right there. I have ton right now. Right now, strawberries are in season. Watermelon's not in season, so I did have watermelon, but now I have tons of strawberries because for a whole pound of strawberries is 150 calories for a whole pound of strawberries. It's a lot of food. Again, talking about food volume and nutrients. You can eat a lot of food volume without necessarily eating a lot of calories. And that's it, suck less. And so finding high volume fruits like watermelon and fruit, some blueberries as well. I think that's number 3. Number 4 would be stop trying to eat 1,000 calories because it's going to suck no matter what. You're not going to be able to have it. Number 5, I would say this is kind of going to be underlooked one, undervalued. Focusing on fiber. I think one of the things that people underlook is fiber, and it just keeps you so full, keeps you so satiated that you're going to be able to almost, in a sense, again, like feel like you're eating more food without eating more calories because you're just fuller longer. Like the 2 reasons calorie deficits suck is because people get starving and people get low energy. So what do? Don't cut your calories so low and don't eat 30 grams of protein per day. Like, find a way to change and help those 2 things. So I think those roughly 5 things right there.
I love it.
I love the last one where you chat about calorie deficit because it's like people don't understand that there's a range. We've done so many TikToks on that. Like, there's a range here and there's a range where it's not sustainable. You are hungry, you're feeling deprived, and it clearly sucks, and then there's another range where you can find like that magic that everyone's like, what? I'm losing weight, feeling like this. And that's the calorie deficit section of the best life ever, or best weight loss journey, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, I have one more. I want to know about, so I know that you're really focusing on your steps. Tell us about steps. Why should we care about steps, especially when we're in a calorie deficit?
Steps are so important. And this is coming from a guy who got like 800 steps per day, which I'm ashamed to say. But I am getting more steps now. But
so proud.
So here's how basically your body burns. I know, right? Here's how your body basically burns calories. There's 4 main ways your body burns calories. First and foremost is going to be from your BMR. This is your basal metabolic rate. This is how many calories your body burns at rest by doing nothing. And so many people ask me, do I have to burn 1,000 calories in my workouts? No, stop worrying about how many calories you burn during your workouts. It makes no difference at all. I'm going to explain why in a second. Your BMR makes up 75% of how many calories your body burns during your day. So that's 75% of how many calories your body burns. Obviously, that plays a huge role in being in a calorie deficit because you have to eat less calories than what your body burns, right? 15% comes from NEAT, which is non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which is, for the sake of this conversation, steps. It's just how much extraneous movement do you get throughout your day that is not dedicated exercise, like a strength training workout or whatever the case may be, right? So that makes up 15% of how many calories your body burns in a day. If you increase your NEAT, you're going to increase your weight loss. There's no other way around it. So that makes up 15%. 10% is from your TEF, which is your thermic effective food, which is just like how many calories your body needs to digest food, because our body uses up calories to digest food. And again, I talked about protein in the last question there. Protein has the highest TEF, which means literally you burn more calories and quote unquote increase your metabolism by just eating more protein. So if you're somebody out there who wants to help yourself lose weight, eating more protein is going to help you burn more calories and increase your metabolism. I always love that. How can I increase my metabolism? But so last 5% comes from your exercise activity thermogenesis. So two things here. Number one, this is why you should not focus on how many calories you burn during your workout. It really does not matter at all whatsoever. But more so, number two, what you should focus on is increasing your NEAT, which is going to make up, again, if you're getting a chunk of 15% of your calories burned during the day and you are increasing that 15%, increasing the amount of calories you're burning, it is going to help with weight loss. And so when I started my calorie deficit, I went from getting like 800 steps per day to now I'm getting above 5,000 steps per day. It's not crazy. It's nothing like last time I did this last year, I was getting above 10,000 steps per day. But again, like my life was kind of in a different spot. My business wasn't where it was at. I wasn't as busy, so on and so forth. And so again, I'm sure somebody out there can say, I'm really busy. I have kids, I have a job, I have a spouse, those kind of things. And so it's like just 5,000 steps per day. Like maybe I'll go on like a 20, 30-minute walk. Like if that, like I'm doing extraneous movement, walking here, doing that. And so getting 5,000 to 10,000 steps per day, I think is a phenomenal way to help yourself lose weight. I know for a fact. And there's actually more research, like actual legit scientific research coming out that NEAT is just a huge component for weight loss.
Amazing.
I mean, yes. Wasn't this great, Alicia? I feel great.
I feel great. And all of this stuff that we've actually taught our members before. We hosted a calorie deficit bootcamp that was totally free for people. And one is coming up, and we just teach them all these things. We talked about NEAT. And what I love about NEAT is it's so accessible. Every single person. You know what else I love? That you're like, yeah, I got 800 steps. Like, I don't even know how that's humanly possible, but you got 800.
It's possible.
You have to be
it's
a 24-year-old male.
Exactly. Exactly. But anyway, I just love how accessible it is. And I also love how you're like, this is how many I'm getting. So I'm not going to say 20,000 because that's ridiculous. Like I'm not going to reach that goal.
It's too much. And that's, I don't recommend anybody getting 20,000 unless you're like a dog walker. But even then, I don't recommend you get that much. Again, it's much like a calorie deficit. There's a line, right? And legit, again, in the research, after about 10 to 12,000 steps, you're not going to see any more benefit from that from a health perspective or from a recovery or a mental health perspective. There's a drop off, right? It's kind of like a bell curve. There's going to be a thing that goes down eventually. So yeah, doing more, I always say more isn't better. Better is better. And again, when it comes to if you're trying to get 20,000 steps per day or 10,000 steps per day. And again, if I'm going from 800 steps per day to 10,000 steps per day, that's unrealistic. So what's going to happen? I'm not going to hit it. I'm going to feel down about myself. I'm going to feel guilty. I'm going to feel like a failure. So then I'm going to quit even more. It's you're setting yourself up for failure from the beginning. I would much rather you say, hey, I'm going to go get 3,000 steps per day. And the funny thing is when you get out there, you're probably going to be like, oh shit, I'm already out here. I already got 5,000 steps. I'll go around the block again. And you'll end up with 6,000 steps for that day. And so it's setting yourself up for proper expectations and making it realistic and sustainable, not trying to, again, throw the entire kitchen sink and change your entire life all in one night. It's physically not going to happen.
Oh, thank you. That was perfect. Yes, and yes.
Yes. I mean, the whole time for the people listening on audio,
we're nodding.
We were just nodding. I mean, this was a really good chat. Everything, it was just, I feel like it just gives our audience another way to listen, to hear another human. It just helps to keep listening to the same message of you can, little sustainable changes, stop faking it, all of the things. Thank you so much.
Okay, wait, tell the humans where they can find you.
Right.
Well, humans, I feel like I'm talking to animals. Well, humans, you can follow, I know. Well, humans, you can follow me. Just Eric Roberts Fitness, probably anywhere. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, podcast, Eric Roberts Fitness podcast, ericrobertsfitness.com. Yeah, all over the place. So if you just do one quick Google search of Eric Roberts Fitness, you'll probably find me really quickly.
You'll get to see his very young face.
I still have questions. Where are you going on vacation?
Riviera Maya, Mexico.
Oh,
we're so jealous.
Oh,
I mean,
my
listen, man, like,
goodness.
yeah, it's so what's funny because like I'm not sure how well versed you are on my content, but like for the previous 8 years of my life before last year, I took no vacation. So again, you're gonna laugh, but like from senior week to age 24, like I didn't like I know, funny, I know, but like so I didn't take any vacations, like no,
But
like
you
no
didn't take vacation
weekends.
because you're 12.
Well, right, like I can't do anything, right? Like, yeah, I know. But like, so yeah, I did nothing then, right? So I'm like, all right, like maybe I should throw in one here and there. So yeah, I'm definitely excited for it for sure.
Okay,
Amazing.
well, we're wishing you a fantastic time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Okay, I want you to stick around after, so we're gonna take a picture, all three of us, Leash. Okay. All right, everyone.
Yes,
So
boss.
you know where to find us. Your Way Weight Loss. Thank you, Eric.
You're absolutely welcome.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for having me.
Okay, everyone listening. So you can find us anywhere. YourWayOurSupport.com. Your Way Weight Loss on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Until next time, everyone. Bye.